A few things about the previous video I put out before I get into my little rant here. If you choose to do the uncrossing ritual, make sure you put a circle of protection around the candles with salt. Also, if you find yourself becoming more and more upset, angry, belligerent, as the ritual's going on, keep doing it because that means it's working. By the third day in my 7-day uncrossing, I found myself reading the Psalms in the tub during the uncrossing bath very, very sarcastically and almost mockingly. Just keep doing it regardless because it's working. One of the things I forgot to mention about the rainbow vacuum is that it uses no bags or filters, just water. And the water traps the dirt, and then you empty it out, and then you refill the water tank. I found that interesting because the literal meaning of feng shui is wind and water. You know, you hear about feng shui, it's, it comes from the East, it's an Eastern practice, but a lot of people there won't even buy property unless it has the proper feng shui, the flow of energy. I just found it interesting that this vacuum uses wind and water, and the meaning of feng shui is wind and water. Now, why is it so important to keep your area clean and free of negativity? Why is that such a big deal? Well, one of the deeper mysteries of as above, so below, as within, so without, is that everything in your environment, everything that's outside of you, is going to be a symbolic representation of what's going on inside of you. And this is how those in the know can literally get omens and signs from just paying attention to their environment. Because the environment will tell you things. Especially if it's something that keeps happening over and over and over again, like a repetitive pattern. Because it can only communicate with metaphor. So it'll keep showing you something and until you either get it or it's beyond your hope of getting it, and then it will try something else. If you get the message that it's trying to tell you, then those patterns will stop happening. Okay, got it. Now, for instance, it's just like this one day, all these snakes were in our yard. Just out of nowhere, just one day, there was just snake after snake after snake after snake. And what does that mean to me? In another culture, a snake might mean something completely different. But to me, and my representations, like snake in the grass. Somebody's being treacherous and working against me behind my back. Which happened to be the case. Once I realized that, I haven't seen a snake in my yard since. Now, my girlfriend had birds flying in front of her car. Like every other day, a bird would fly directly in front of her car. Some of them she hit. Man, pulled dead birds out of her grill. So what does it mean? What does it mean? You got to figure that out. What does that mean to you? You got to figure that out. If you figure it out, it'll stop happening. It's very much like a biofeedback loop. Okay? If the subconscious has the ability to manifest things into your conscious reality, and the language of the subconscious is symbolism, pictures, images, symbols, then it makes sense that these things will happen. And that you're not going to get a booming voice from the sky, from God, to tell you things. You're going to get symbolism and patterns and metaphors to give you messages. Okay? Also remember that everything's a circuit. Is the reason you're not having better things come into your life is because your environment is so cluttered and you're holding on to such things as the past that it's created a blockage in that circuit? Is it possible that you need to clean out the clutter and throw everything away that you don't need in order to make room for better things to come into your life? Is it possible that there's just simply no room for better things to come your way? A cluttered, disorganized environment is evidence of a cluttered, disorganized mind. And this just isn't my opinion, okay? This is Darren Brown. He's a master hypnotist and magician. More well known in the UK than the US. But we're going to be seeing a lot more of him when we get into the hypnosis stuff. Alright? Now I'm going to cue up one of his videos at a part when he walks into somebody's cluttered room and listen to what he says. See, some of the most powerful magic that some of you can do right now is simply clean up and eliminate the clutter in your environment. As above, so below, as within, so without. And by now, that Saturnine Sephiroth that governs the subconscious mind also rules over organization and structure, so you'll be appeasing that as well. Okay. So I've gotten a message from somebody who wants to know how long it took me to develop astral sight, because all he wants to do is fly around in the astral. And the thing is that most of you probably need less astral and more reality. The things I'm trying to teach you here initially are meant to ground you, get your head out of the clouds, and bring you back down to earth. There's a reason that the first elemental grade that you go through and study and practice is the earth element. Everyone wants to get to the astral. Thing is, you're already there. There's all this daydreaming and you can't focus your mind and it's scattered all over the place. That's you in the astral. You just have no control over it yet. You need to come down, ground, back to earth, and develop the control. See, because if you can't ground and focus here, how are you going to be able to focus there? You know, I'm not bashing, I'm just calling it what it is. Escapism. You're wanting to escape. You know how I know? Because I've been there. It tells me you're bored with your life. You have no purpose, no direction, and you're drifting. And you think flying around the astral is going to make you happy. It's not. In fact, it'll probably scare the shit out of you the first time you have a full-blown astral projection. I know it did me. Yeah, I wanted to get to the astral too, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and nothing ever happened. And then one night when that portal did finally open, and that tunnel of light appeared, and I had no choice in the matter, it was taking me no matter what, I was like, no, no, please don't take me. Please, I'm not ready yet. No, no. And then you go through that tunnel of light, which is just like Stargate or Contact, if you the Jodie Foster movie. If you've seen those, you think they don't know about this? Or where do you think they got the idea from? And you don't know where you're going. I mean, it's not like an OBE where you get up out of your body and walk around. They're similar, but that's different. That's an OBE. That's an out-of-body experience. A lucid dream has similar qualities too, but that's still just a very vivid dream that you can take control over consciously. Okay, a full-blown astral projection is different. Similar qualities, but different. Now, this isn't the greatest metaphor, but regular visualization and daydreaming is like looking out the window. Lucid dreaming is like opening the window and sticking your head out. Out-of-body experience is like opening the window, climbing out, and walking around. And a full-blown astral projection is like being sucked out the window by a beam from aliens and transporting you halfway across the galaxy to an unknown location. Now, your subconscious knows better than you, okay? Well, why should it permit you to go to the astral? If you can't deal with things here, what makes you think you're going to be able to deal with things there? You're just going to freak the fuck out in fight or flight mode and either attack things or run from them. I don't care how boring you think your life is. You do have a purpose in this realm. The problem is that you've drifted away from your purpose. See, all the things that people get into the occult for, sex, money, power, none of that stuff makes them happy when they get it, if they're not on their purpose. You have to be on your purpose. If you're drifting, you'll never be happy. There's a lot of rich people that are absolutely miserable. You think that when you get these things, they're going to make you happy, and for a brief time they may, but these things in of themselves never create a lasting satisfaction. True happiness comes from finding your passion and purpose in life, and doing that just for the sake of doing it. For some reason people think the occult and ceremonial magic is all going to be Harry Potter fun time. I don't know, does staring at a wall every day for 10 months on a single point and meditating on all the facets of that single point sound like fun to you? Ceremonial magic isn't for everyone. If all you're after is money, then I suggest follow Bob Proctor's teachings. He's going to teach you how to know what you want, focus on it, and go after it. If all you're after is sex, I suggest visiting RSDTyler's page. He's going to show you that the reason you can't pick up women is because you're not grounded and centered in your own energy. If what you're wanting is to learn how to cast some spells, perhaps Wicca's a little more suited for you. Ceremonial magic is more about self-transformation, with an emphasis on conjuration. So Wicca may be more your style because it's less disciplined. I'm not saying it's worse, I'm just saying it's less disciplined. Because if you start the elemental grades and then quit halfway through, you're going to be in worse shape than when you started. You have to see it through. You have to have the discipline to do it every single day. If you don't think you can do that, then stay away from ceremonial magic. You can still listen to my channel, though. I'll give you some good stuff from time to time. But the thing is you need to find your passion. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing the most. And do that. And that's going to lead you where you want to go. Now, the book assignment I'm going to give you is a book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. He's the author of Think and Grow Rich, that Bob Proctor's always going on about. Now, this book was controversial. It wasn't released until 2011, like 70 years after the guy was gone. And it is one of the most fascinating reads I've ever read. And he's going to explain why it's so important to have a purpose and why drifting leads to failure in life. There's a reason I had to focus on a single point every day for 10 months. See, how are you going to get from point A to point B where you want to go if you don't know what point A your passion is? Everything has a starting point. And speaking of points, we're coming to the end. But before I go, someone else had asked if I was going to provide examples of the rituals that I do. I wish I would have recorded Temple the other night because I know how you guys really enjoy the weird stuff, but I'm probably not going to do that anytime soon. I will, however, refer you to the book and course that I work from personally. It's called Kabbalah, Magick, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Liam Thomas Christopher. And it's a complete course from the neophyte to the portal grade. I disagree with him, however, on the length of time needed in each grade. He says 6 months, I say 10, one for each Sephiroth. You're like, 10 months in each grade. You got to have patience with this stuff. I wasn't ready in 6 months in each grade. And I'm a pretty quick learner. I have Moon in Gemini. And also the fact that I had a background in tarot, astrology, and hypnosis before I even got into magic. Because you're going to need to learn those things too. The only other thing I do differently from the book is the lesser banishing ritual of the hexagram. I use the traditional hexagrams and not the unicursal. Oh, and everything I was talking about, the Lover's card, is in the book. My conscious mind had forgotten about it, about reading about it, but my subconscious remembered, and it brought up the information to me and recalled it when I was working on that lesson. I thought I was having some grand, insights into things, but I had already read that somewhere. And I just had totally forgotten about it consciously. But my subconscious recalled every part of that and even elaborated further on it. So yeah, it's kind of like that. But I'm out of time. I'll catch you next time. Got more stuff on the way. See you then.